I'm gonna share a little trick with you guys. No one can seem to figure out how to get axles out of Polaris diffs, and it is kind of a pain in the ass. You can't just grab the axle and yank on it like with a Honda. You'll pull the innards apart, right? So with the portals, you just pull out the 4 bolts that bolt the portal to the back plate. Okay, the portal's hanging there, the only thing holding is the axle. I then take a pry bar, it's actually a curved one as you can see, put it in between the diff and the cup, hit this with a rubber mallet, not even that hard. Then I take a hammer and chisel, and I come in right here, okay, like that, on the cup, and I hammer the cup that way. Because this pry bar is here, that makes the axle pop right out. Super easy. I got both axles out in 5 minutes, and it's not like these axles haven't been in water and stuff. Let me show you what the splines look like. Okay, it's about as bad as it gets. So they were greased a long time ago, but it's been a while. The reason I'm doing this obviously is to change my diff, but it's really easy. You just have to have, that's however, and with an axle is all you gotta do is put it in, jam a punch in there, and then hit the axle the other way in such a way that you rock the cup out of the differential. It makes the snap ring roll into the groove. It's very easy. Yeah. Guys, there's the Can-Am Visco Lock unit, which is a massively huge differential. You can tell because it's next to my Razor diff, which in comparison is much smaller. However, this is a locker, and this is not. This also is an all-wheel drive unit. This is not. The Hillard is a very small, compact diff, but it's not perfect. That's why this one's getting replaced. This is getting taken apart to become a locker with the Torq Master locker. There's a lot of videos talking about how to rebuild that and differential and add the locker to it, so I'm not going to waste my time doing that. I'll just throw a link to those guys in the description. However, there are no videos showing you how to get the differential out of here, and it's really not that bad. So I'm going to walk you through it. The hardest bike to do this on is probably this bike because the radiator is right there and it's crammed and the bolts are hard to get to and the winch is kind of in the way and all that stuff. And the fact that I had these crazy looking steering setup for my 6-inch lift made it a little bit tighter because those hangs down a little farther than stock. But the first thing you do is you pull this bottom bolt on the knuckle on both sides. Knock out your bottom ball joints, very easy. A little tap, tap, tap. You can see where I did some tap, tap, tapping. And then once you get that off, you pull the shock. I took this shock out completely. On this side, I just undid the bottom bolt, swung it out of the way, and that lets you pick the arm up. Once you pick the arm up, you can yank the axle out of the diff, which was really easy in my case because my axle's broken off. But you can see how this axle, I just popped it out of the diff and put it over to the side. Didn't even take it out of this knuckle. No need to do that. The only reason that axle came out is because it's getting replaced. And then there are 3 bolts and nuts, 2 big ones, one big one down here, one big one down here, and there's a little bracket up here with a shorter bolt and nut. Once you get those bolts and nuts out, you got to get the little stub drive shaft out. That guy. So you cut the zip ties on the bands, push the bands to the inside, take the diff and slide the diff all the way forward. It doesn't look like it, but it'll go forward about another 3/4 of an inch. Once you get all the way forward, you can pick up the stub shaft past the coupler here, twist the whole differential up, remove your stub shaft, and then you twist the differential up, twist it this way, and it comes out there just barely. There's just barely enough room to get that differential out. Like I said, it is a really nice, big, massive differential. That's why Can-Ams don't break front diffs. Well, also because they're 3-wheel drive, so you know it's hard to break a 3-wheel drive diff. Anyways, look at the giant gaping hole in my bike. So, machine quad, excuse me for the Canadians. So that's out and it's on the bench and we're gonna pop it open. Really easy to install this locker. Like I said, not making a video on it because it's wasting my time because there's already plenty of good videos on it. While you're doing this, always change the seals, right? The seals are right there. They are cheap. Get them from Partzilla. Yeah, change the seals. And now we're gonna be 4-wheel drive. And you may have noticed a second ago that the 35-inch BKTs are on the Can-Am and it has a huge amount of ground clearance. Gotta get all the way back here to keep it in the frame. It's a pretty narrow offset wheel, but even still, the axle hangs out a little bit because it's such a skinny wheel. But it looks gnarly. So probably won't turn them very well. But I don't know, they are skinny and they are light, so we'll see. The 32-inch Aztecs are on the Razor. I changed my bolt pattern around to get those on there. Looking pretty gnarly. Hopefully there's some bigger Aztec sizes will come out soon because I actually love these tires. You see how they're barely clearing there? It's because I have 6+1-inch wheels. I actually had to do a little like 5mm spacer. You can see it right there to make them clear, but they clear fine. And oh, and the Razor's got a brand new front diff. Cha-ching! Doing all kinds of good mods. Oh, and the Razor got a bracket lift. So even though I'm running smaller tires, I'm 35 to 32, so that's about the same ground clearance. The reason why the Super ATV axles don't seat right and snap off As you can see on the Demon axle, the space after the amount of spline after the snap ring is very small. It's about twice as big on the Super ATV axle. So that's why the snap ring pops out and this gets sheared off. It also proves that the Demon axles are not the same as Super ATV axles. I'm going to attempt to do a little demonstration. So bike's in two-wheel drive right now, and you can see that when I spin this wheel, both wheels spin the same direction. The bike is so wide it's hard to do. I use my foot. So you're kind of spinning the same direction. That's because it's in two-wheel drive. Now you'll also notice if I spin this wheel fast, hear that ratchet? That's the locker unlocking. So I can actually hold this wheel and spin this wheel freely. So that's the unlock part of it. Now the way this locker works, it's like a ratchet locker. If any torque is coming through the pinion gear, so like when you put it in four-wheel drive, now there will be torque coming through the pinion gear. Boom, instant lockage. No delay, half a turn bullshit. I mean, it's maybe a 32nd of a turn and you got a locker. Now the whole reason I hated my 570 was because it was a piece of junk. But the whole reason my 570 got stuck everywhere was because it was three-wheel drive. This locker became available, and everyone's like, oh, why'd you buy a Can-Am? Because this locker became available, which makes the Can-Am four-wheel drive. And a vehicle with Fox shocks and a lot of power and four-wheel drive is potent no matter how you slice it. Three-wheel drive Can-Am is worthless. Anyone without a Torq Locker and a Can-Am that's trying to do some serious mudding, retarded. Everybody, all you idiots. The Torq Locker makes this bike at least 20 times more capable off-road because they're high and they're top heavy, so if you don't have all four wheels pulling, you're not going anywhere. Also, 35 BKTs, that's going to help a little bit too. It's got a huge amount of ground clearance. Very happy with it. The locker install is very easy. I did go ahead and completely assemble the differential and delete my Visco lock because it was already fried and I didn't want to have to worry about it. So that's an option in the instructions. You can do the easy way or the hard way. The hard way has you actually pull the diff apart. You have to re-Loctite the ring gear bolts and all that stuff, but it only took me about an extra 30 minutes. So it's up to you if you're going to delete the Visco or not. My Visco was fried. It wasn't doing anything, so I just deleted it. So I knew it was stupid, but I tried the 35s out. Went to go do a little test drive in low range on pavement. It did a little wheelie. I revved it up to about, I don't know, 6,000 RPMs to get away from the cops. And right when I did that, the belt exploded. As you can see, burnt rubber, cracked belt box, complete and utter carnage. Just the kind of thing you come to expect when you have a Can-Am. No, can't blame Can-Am for this at all. I've got 35-inch tires on it with stock clutching, and that may have been the original belt. Man, it is toast, but time to put the spare belt on it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to ride it this weekend because it is kind of foobar. I really need to clean the clutches out. There's just chunks of plastic and belt everywhere. Something does not happen with a Honda. But I got limiting straps on, very premium, and everything else seems to be working great except for the belt drive. LOL.